Recently I had a conversation on the internet with a person about science. I think that's a real fascinating subject. Science, of course, is a word which is being used in many different meanings. But this fella that I talked with, he was a big fan of science, and he also, I think, was a scientist himself. And the way he described his vision of science was as a kind of evolving current of knowledge over a long period of time, where we discover a few details here, a few details there, and we notice mechanisms in this area and that area, certain patterns and tendencies. And as we gradually develop this knowledge and we build on each other's experiences, this leads to a greater knowledge, which is far more than the sum of all the details. Now, what I asked him, and seemed that he to some extent agreed with this, was that maybe the present social institutions of science are not the best ones. I mean, the educational system and the system of the academy and universities, they of course have several important functions, but they can also restrict this kind of natural unflowing process. And instead of a true search for the true and the good and the beautiful, it can become a tool for interest groups to serve their own agenda in a very limited kind of way, which does not really manage to serve their agenda by creating simultaneously win-win outcomes with their surroundings, but it can very easily, unfortunately, take on an exploitation character and become parasitic. And this seems to be a serious concern. Many people have voiced this in different ways, that science is restricted by the social institutions of science, and that these social institutions are very conservative in nature, and that while this conservative nature does provide a certain stability and many benefits, it clearly also is a great inhibitor towards the radical breakthroughs and revolutionary new thinking, which may perhaps be needed at this time in our history. So my suggestion is that we continue building on all of the existing social institutions, and we of course try to improve these institutions as much as we can, and study how this can be done, and have a very open public dialogue about this, and really do continuous experiments in this direction. But at the same time, we can also let science free, put it free into the wild world web, and make a unique kind of scientific project among the people, a science of the people, a science for the people. So what I could envision is a kind of evolving project among the people, where we just continuously improve and share loads of information and co-create new forms of intelligence. And we can do that on the existing social media platforms. So this is a project which I've been looking at theoretically for a long time, and I feel that the time is coming very closely now to begin taking this project to the next level. And maybe it can begin with only a handful of people, then it can gradually grow. But the vision here is to use the scientific methods and the basic foundational, tried and tested values of the scientific mind, and use that to create a new kind of a knowledge which is made among the people and for the benefit of the people, and where this knowledge is a co-creative project where we're moving together, we're sharing our best insights, we're video documenting experiments, we're sharing them on all the existing channels, and we can gradually collect that data which is the most relevant data for how our practical everyday existence could work as well as possible. So in other words, this could be a science for the good life, a science for the people, from the people, and which is continuously evolving among the minds of all the people. On the World Wide Web.